Join Walters this Sunday night at 6 p.m. for a DC Defender Conference Championship watch party as they take on the only pro football team in St. Louis.
Gore rocks, kicks, delivers. Fastball hit in the air to deep right center. Hassel going back, slowing up, has a play, and makes the catch just before crossing out of the warning track to retire the side. So MacKenzie Gore, 3 straight scoreless innings. He retires 11 in a row, and he retires 14 of the last 15 Cubs. We have no score of the game, and Amed Rosario leading off. First pitch swung on, hit in the air, down the right field line, deep toward the corner. Long run, this may go, and it's gone! Goodbye! Into the Nationals bullpen. A leadoff home run for Amed Rosario here in the bottom of the 7th inning. He's in there to hit lefties, and he now is ahead in 9 straight games. His 3rd home run of the year, RBI number 13, Amed Rosario delivers the first run of the game, and the Nationals on the board. It's Washington 1, Chicago nothing.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Nationals Park. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. So on the last installment of the podcast, brought up the topic of us needing a nickname for MacKenzie Gore game days, given how good he is now. After all, with the other great Nats starting pitchers, we have had nicknames for game days, right? Steven Strasburg, Strasmus, Max Scherzer, Scherzday. Well, we, over the last 24 hours or so, have been inundated with suggestions for nicknames for MacKenzie Gore game days. And in the meantime, Gore continues to have a special season. 7 scoreless innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. This in a 2-0 win over the Chicago Cubs at Nationals Park on Wednesday evening in Game 2 of a 3-game series as the Nats in MLB's 2025 regular season improved to 29-32. This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by Window Nation. When you buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows free when you purchase a house full of windows. No money down for 24 months. Visit windownation.com. Coming up later in the show, an update on the Nats AAA affiliate, the Rochester Red Wings, with the voice of the Red Wings, Josh Whetzel. So here are some of the many suggestions that we have received for nicknames for MacKenzie Gore game days. As you will see, some are better than others, but here we go. Email from Brenton Stone, phantasmagorical. Email from Raj, a magnificent day. Email from FSU 79 Knowles, gorgeous. Email from Terry. He says, how about a twist on Memorial Day, Memorial Day? Email from Stephen Lejour de Gore. From Paul F on X, K-Day. From Dave on X, Return of the Mac, with Mac spelled M-A-C-K. K is in strikeout, and K also is in the first 4 letters of MacKenzie. Email from Bob in Sterling, Virginia, MacKenzie. Email from Allison, MacKenzie. I happen to like MacKenzie the best. Call MacKenzie Gore game days whatever you want, but Mark, right now, they are special.
I'm with you on MacKenzie, at least out of the options that we've been provided so far. I was trying to think of something involving the number 1 because he wears uniform number 1. He's the number 1 starter. He's the ace of the team. I haven't come up with something that quite works there. But if anybody has any good ideas that involve the number 1, I'd listen to that. But I'll tell you what, on a Wednesday at Nationals Park, it was MacKenzie Day because he was phenomenal, especially after he got out of that first inning jam in a way that I don't know that the 2024 version of MacKenzie Gore would have been able to get out of. And that, to me, is the striking difference between what we saw from him in the past and what we're seeing this year. And on a night when offense was at an absolute premium, he had to be perfect because the other guy was perfect until the 6th inning. And then finally they waited it out. And finally the Nats gave him some run support that he'd been lacking in quite a while to finally earn his 3rd win of the year.
So Gore for this game, as mentioned, 7 scoreless innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. He gave up just 3 hits, all of which were singles. He issued a hit by pitch and a wild pitch, but he threw a lot of strikes, 94 pitches, 63 strikes, 31 balls. Oh, by the way, he did all of this against one of the best offensive teams in the majors in the Cubs. And in a lot of ways, the story of the outing was that top of the first. And you asked Davey Martinez about this during his post-game press conference. but Gore in the top of the first gave up a single to each of the first 3 batters he faced. I mentioned Gore in this outing giving up just 3 hits, all of which were singles. All of those hits came over the first 3 batters of the game. So Gore gives up these 3 singles. You're saying to yourself, well, maybe this isn't such a great outing for MacKenzie Gore, but he then generated a swinging strikeout of each of the next 2 batters he faced in retiring each of the final 3 batters he faced in the inning. And from that point forward, he was brilliant.
This is the story of MacKenzie Gore in 2025, that even when he gets to that point where in the past he might have let it get to him and all of a sudden there's a big crooked number up on the scoreboard, he doesn't just get out of it with minimal damage. He's getting out of it with no damage at all. And he's doing it because he has the ability to get swings and misses, yes. And these are some pretty good hitters he's striking out, by the way. Pete Crow Armstrong, who was phenomenal in the opener of the series. And in this game, Gore and the rest of the Nats handled him very well. Dansby Swanson, proven hitter. And Nico Horner, a tough guy to strike out. And so what does Gore do? He gets him to reach and pops one up into foul territory for the 3rd out. And it was like, once he got through that, you knew he was going to be fine the rest of the night, even against a good lineup like this one. And I mean, he just cruised from that point on. At 24 pitches after the first inning, you're thinking to yourself, this might be a short night. And you even saw Brad Lord warming up. I think it was the 5th inning was the first time they had Lord warming, because you just worried a little bit. Couple base runners, some long at bats. His pitch count gets over 90. We've got to make a move. And he ends up going all the way through the 7th and still kept it to 94 pitches. That was a phenomenal job of him once he got out of the first, what he did the rest of the way to just cruise along and turn this into one of his best starts of the year.
So your updated stats for MacKenzie Gore for this regular season: 13 starts, ERA of 2.87. He's got the ERA now well under 3, a whip of 1.14, 108 strikeouts, ranking number 1 in the majors, a strikeouts per 9 innings of 12.9, ranking number 1 among all qualified pitchers in the majors. He, without question, is having a Cy Young Award caliber season. And I was thinking about this. So forget about being an all-star. What about being the National League's all-star game starter? Do you think that that is possible? Would the Nats have to have a better record for that to be the case? I mean, Gore's season is good enough now to where he should be a candidate for all-star game starter, but I recognize that how your team is doing often plays a role in that. What do you think?
Well, I'll say this, who started the All-Star game last year for the National League? A guy named Paul Skenes, who was pitching for a very bad Pirates team. Now, he, of course, was the phenom rookie year. That was a big attraction. And by the way, he's doing it again this year, despite getting no run support. Kind of like MacKenzie Gore, doesn't have a lot of wins to show for it. Right now, between the two of them, it's pretty close, but I think you might give the edge to Skenes. He's got the lower ERA at 2.05. And then, is it fair or unfair that we still judge on these things? But Kodai Senga, in addition to a 1.60 ERA, which is far and away best in the league, is 6-3. Robbie Ray with the Giants is 7-1 with a 2.43 ERA. So as great as Gore's pitching, there are still guys having better seasons in terms of ERA, in terms of whip. I know the strikeouts are off the charts good. We've still got time. There's still a month to go, and he's trending in the right direction for sure. But right now at 3-5 with a 2.87 ERA, as good as that is, and leading the league in strikeouts, I'm not sure there's the case that he is, the best in the league deserving of that honor yet. Still time to sort this all out.
Gore did not get his 3rd win until Wednesday evening. The DFA'd Jorge Lopez has 6 wins. Think about that. How unfair is life that is the case?
Now, is he still eligible to start the All-Star game, Lopez, even if he's no longer with the team? Can they bring him back and put the Nats uniform on him?
Well, listen, All-Star game voting has started, so why the heck not? Go ahead and use your write-in portion of the ballot for Jorge Lopez. But, man, MacKenzie Gore, I brought this up the last time we talked MacKenzie Gore. Who's having the higher-level season on the Nats? Is it James Wood or is it MacKenzie Gore? And I think now more than ever, it is a conversation. Again, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I mean, I think it's 6 and 1/2 dozen in the other. But for as good as Wood has been, I mean, Gore is having one of these elite level seasons, at least so far here. This is special.
And you hope more and more people around the league are picking up on that. And as you said, he shut out one of the most productive lineups in baseball in this game. This is not the Rockies. This is not the Marlins. This is not the Pirates that he was doing this to. The Cubs entered the day with the 3rd highest OPS in the majors. We saw the quality of at-bats they put together in Tuesday night's series opener. And outside of those first three, and even the first three singles, I think only one of them was kind of hit hard. A couple of them were pretty soft contact. So they really never squared him up all that much the whole game. And that's an excellent lineup that he just completely shut out over 7 innings.
Is MacKenzie Gore a guy who you think, if the Nats become good, can be a face of the franchise? I mean, in terms of performance, he can be. But from a personality standpoint, from a charisma standpoint, from a marketability standpoint, from a ticket selling standpoint, how do you view MacKenzie Gore in those regards?
He is much more Steven Strasburg than Max Scherzer in that regard. I'll put it that way. More personality than Stras, and a very pleasant guy, but very short answers to everything. Doesn't really care about the attention, show a lot of emotion. He does the thing which can be annoying as a writer because the grammar gets all messed up. He uses the royal we a lot. He doesn't just talk about himself. He says, well, we made a good pitch there. We got the job done to get out of that jam.
So it's just kind of understand that's where we're at, one pitch at a time, and we were able to get 2 strikeouts and then, get a foul ball.
I think some of that is just his natural inclination to believe that whatever he's doing is about the team in general and not just about himself. He's not a self-promoter in any way. So I think, Steven Strasburg was arguably one of the faces of the franchise for a long time, probably against his will. I think it might be a similar situation with MacKenzie Gore if it ever gets to that.
Well, it is outstanding, the work of MacKenzie Gore, and maybe no outing more impressive this season than what he did on Wednesday evening against the mighty Cubs. 7 shutout innings with 7 more strikeouts. Hey, Al Galdi here for Window Nation. We're midway through the year, and for many people, that means summer vacation is coming up. Will your windows keep your home protected while you're away? Save yourself the headache of coming home to a potential break-in by replacing your windows today with Window Nation windows. Right now, when you buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows free, plus you get a free exterior door when you purchase a house full of windows. And on top of that, you won't have to put any money down, pay any interest, or deal with any monthly payments for 24 months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. In this economy, what Window Nation is offering right now is a great deal. Your electricity bill is another good indicator of how well your windows are working, especially with summer temperatures here to stay. Lucky for you, Window Nation offers top quality, energy efficient vinyl windows built to withstand the sun's heat and keep your home cool. And did I mention that Window Nation windows come with a lifetime warranty? Don't miss your chance to protect and upgrade your home with Window Nation windows. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free now through June 30th. And remember, you won't pay a thing for 24 months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION or windownation.com, and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast.
So it's 1-2. Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball right side. It's speared by Lowe. Off to his backhand side. He'll flip to Lord covering at the bag. Nicely done for out number 3 in the inning over. So Lowe ranging to his right. And Brad Lord, his most impactful and high leverage situation, works a scoreless top of the 8th inning.
The Nats bullpen in this 2-0 win over the Cubs on Wednesday evening was good. 2 Nats relievers combined for 2 scoreless innings. Brad Lord, a scoreless and hitless top of the 8th. Kyle Finnegan, a scoreless top of the 9th for the save, despite giving up 2 singles. I tell you what stood out to me as much as anything from a bullpen perspective. Davey Martinez during his postgame presser saying to you guys, we got to get Brad Lord going. I thought that was interesting, and Lord, sure enough, was good in this game.
Well, I think he's also referring to that he needs more time to warm up, and that's why you saw him what felt like an earlier part of the game than you might have imagined. Like, why is Brad Lord already warming? Gore's in good shape here. I think the starting background maybe requires a little extra, headway time to get ready. But agreed. I mean, you've now seen a couple times. He did it once on the road trip, and now here where he's pitching a fairly high leverage spot. And that's a spot that's kind of gone to Cole Henry here recently, and then you saw Henry come in early on Tuesday and struggle somewhat, and my guess is that he was unavailable or they wanted to avoid him in this game, and so Brad Lord got the assignment, and I'll tell you what, he faced the number 9 hitter and then the top of the Cubs lineup in what is still a 1-0 game at that time. And he pitched around Suzuki with a walk, got a big out via Happ, and then a ground ball from Carson Kelly, and puts up a 0 in a big spot for a kid. As we've talked about, there's been a lot to like, but we're still trying to figure out, like, where does he fit in? What is he exactly? And can they find a way, whatever role that he's in, can they find a way for him to pitch meaningful innings for this team if he is that promising? And this was a very meaningful inning. I was glad to see him get it.
It's so crazy when you think about it. It was just, a week or so ago that the Nats' 8th inning guy was Jorge Lopez. And he has since, of course, been DFA'd. And, it just tells you what this bullpen has been for so much of this season. But that 8th inning spot now is up in the air. There is some competition here to see who sort of asserts himself for that 8th inning job.
But you know what? I like that. And if you think about almost any bullpen over the course of a season, it never ends the way it started. You can go into a year with a plan. This is my 7th inning guy. This is my 8th inning guy, my 9th inning guy. It almost inevitably has to be adjusted along the way. And you find the guys who are performing well. You find the guys who, as you kind of gradually throw them into more situations of consequence, those who can handle it and those who can't. You saw Jackson Rutledge kind of get the first shot among those young righties, and he did all right, but maybe not quite as much. And now you've seen them back off him somewhat. You saw Cole Henry as the zeros kept piling up. All right, let's see how he does in the 7th. Okay, let's see how he does in the 8th. He even got to close the game the other day in Arizona when Finnegan wasn't available, and he'd done pretty well. And now you're seeing Lord in that kind of situation. So I think it's a moving target. You give guys time to breathe. You kind of figure out who fits in where, who succeeds where. And then you hope by the time, say, you get to the All-Star break, that it's all well established. And okay, now we know who's our 7th inning, our 8th inning, our 9th inning guy. I've kind of enjoyed, as difficult as that opening month was to watch from a bullpen standpoint, I've really enjoyed the last month seeing how it has developed, how they've taken what was such a huge liability and turned it into something that's bordering on a strength all of a sudden when you consider the late inning arms they have now.
It has stabilized, and the stability was much needed. There's no question about that. The Nats offense in this 2-0 win over the Cubs on Wednesday evening, shall we say, did enough to win the game, but did not do much. The Nats total just 2 runs, just 4 hits, and just 1 walk. Went 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. The 4 hits, a home run, a double, and 2 singles. The Cubs starting pitcher was Matthew Boyd. He allowed 2 runs in 7 1/3 innings with 6 strikeouts versus 1 walk. He began his outing by tossing 5 1/3 perfect innings. Amed Rosario, he appeared in a game for the first time since May 25th, and he homered. He is the Nats starting third baseman and number 2 batter, went 1 for 3 with a solo homer. Rosario in the Nats 1-run 7th, a leadoff first pitch, opposite field home run to right field for a 1-0 Nats lead. I tell you, Amed Rosario has been productive here. He, for this regular season now, is an OPS of 811 over 96 plate appearances. When called upon, the guy has delivered. And the Nats' other extra base hit in this game came from Nasim Nuñez. He is the Nats starting second baseman and number 8 batter, went 1 for 2 with an RBI double and a walk. He had a stolen base, did get picked off and caught stealing, but it was Nuñez who ended the Matthew Boyd bid for a perfect game. Bottom of the 6th, a 1-out walk, although Nuñez did then get picked off and caught stealing second base. But Nuñez in a Nats 1-run 8th, a tremendous plate appearance, a 1-out full count RBI double down the left field line for a 2-0 Nats lead to conclude a 10-pitch plate appearance in which he was down in the count at 1.02. And he had to steal a third base. We saw the worst and best of Nasim Nuñez in this game. Him getting picked off drove you nuts. But that plate appearance that resulted in the RBI double in the 1-run 8th, what a job by Nuñez.
It was phenomenal. And he said the longer it went on, the more he enjoyed it, the more he felt good about his chances, because he's fighting off everything that Boyd has. And he knows that Boyd's hitting the finish line here pretty soon. And he just waited it out until he got the pitch he could do something with and ripped it down the line for the double, and then made up, I suppose, for the pickoff by stealing third, even though it didn't really matter so much in the end. But I'll tell you what, this kid, the stats don't show it because it's nothing overwhelming. But when he does play, it feels like he makes things happen one way or another. And the progress he's made from last year to this year is tremendous. We knew all along he could play the field. We knew he could run the bases. But that kind of quality at bat, I don't know he could have provided that a year ago. And so all credit to him for really working on it and getting to a point that he could be counted on and you don't really have to think about pinch hitting for him in a spot like that. That was big time. Rosario, the home run, of course, outstanding. His production, mostly against lefties, it's been outstanding. And you had 3 guys in the lineup in this game. Rosario, Nuñez, and Alex Call. All of them in the lineup for the first time in 10 days. The reason they had not faced a left-handed starter in that time. And Nuñez came off the bench for 1 inning at the end of a blowout out west, but that was it. That's a hard thing to ask for these guys. Say, okay, you've sat cold, literally haven't played in 10 days. Go out there and go get them. And to their credit, they all contributed in one way or another. It's an impressive job by them to stay ready. And when the time finally came and their name was called, they all delivered.
This says a lot about a lot, but you could argue that Amed Rosario is the best acquisition of the Nats offseason, that he's doing the best job here with the production that he's providing. And it's a game in which the Nats' depth ends up proving really valuable because the big boys did not come through. The Nats numbers 1, 3, 4, and 5 batters, C.J. Abrams, James Wood, Nathaniel Lowe, and Josh Bell, they went a combined 0 for 13 with no walks. I have not wanted to sound the alarm bell on C.J. Abrams because he overall has done a good job. But, his numbers have come down here quite a bit. And for a while, it was Abrams and Wood neck and neck for the team OPS lead. That's not the case anymore. James Wood is clearly out in front. And Abrams, who had a 900-plus OPS for a long while, his OPS now is down to 809. He's had some struggles here lately.
Yeah, as we I think mentioned the other day, all the offense they had on the West Coast, those great nights of 9+ runs, Abrams really wasn't a part of that. They were doing that in spite of it. And really, he's at about 2 weeks, maybe even more than 2 weeks now, where he's gone cold. And that is kind of reminiscent of what we saw from him last year. Very streaky when he was on. He was phenomenal. When he was off, he was pretty bad, and it went on for a while. Got off to such a great start this year, and you hoped that was a sign of what he could continue. He's got to show he can snap out of this. And this is the critical next step for him as a big league player. You'd love for him to be the elite C.J. Abrams 6 months out of the year, but that's probably not going to be the case. So now, how can you just be average C.J. Abrams for months at a time and then know that eventually you're going to turn hot again? You cannot go ice cold the way that he has. And so this next stretch, I think, is really important for him. You're seeing him be much more aggressive, swinging at the first pitch, making quick outs, a lot of rollover ground balls to the right side. Those are all signs of a guy who's in a slump right now. It's on him to figure this thing out and get himself back on track.
Yeah, just really reminiscent of last season when, month by month, he was either outstanding or he was really bad. And we're kind of seeing that on a much smaller scale, at least so far this season. But we'll see how things end up going here.
Life as a small business owner, everything is your problem and there aren't enough hours in the day. That's where LinkedIn Jobs, and by proxy Nats Chat, are here to help. For those crucial hires that you absolutely can't whiff on, turn to LinkedIn Jobs. Simply post your job and LinkedIn will take it from there, making sure it gets in front of the properly qualified candidates who are searching themselves. Find out why more than 2.5 million small business owners have turned to LinkedIn Jobs to grow their staff. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/natschat. That's linkedin.com/natschat to post your jobs for free. linkedin.com/natschat. Terms and conditions apply.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
0-2 the count. Finnegan, the set at the belt. The pitch to Tucker with the runner going, and it's grounded to the right side. Nuñez has it. He will lob the toss to first in time, and the Nationals win the ball game. Kyle Finnegan gets it done. He retires Tucker. The Nationals complete the shutout, and MacKenzie Gore, 7 dominant innings, picks up his 3rd win of the season.
So the Nats get the win. They at least will get one win in this 3-game series, but a chance to win the series. We have Game 3 Thursday evening at Nationals Park, 6:45 first pitch. Jake Irvin will be the Nats starting pitcher. Some odds and ends here. We did get an email requesting for an update on Mason Thompson, reliever Mason Thompson. He is on the Nats 60-day injured list off undergoing Tommy John surgery all the way back on March 1st, 2024. Have you been given any updates on Mason Thompson lately?
I'm glad you asked, Al, because I asked Davey Martinez about him today. So thanks to our reader for reminding me of it. I had heard a couple weeks ago that Thompson was starting to ramp things up down in Florida, but we hadn't got an update since. So here's the good news. Through a simulated game on Monday, the first time I believe that he's done that, still needs to continue along those lines facing live hitters, but it sounds like relatively soon they could go send him on a minor league rehab assignment, and then you start the 30-day clock for that, and hopefully at the end of all that, we could see him back up here in the big leagues. It's been a while for him. You know, you're talking about approaching a year and a half now since his Tommy John surgery, the second one of his career, so you don't want to get your hopes up too much of what he could be. We know that he was a guy that when he was on could look really good at times, but could also look really off, especially his command, a lot of walks. So tread carefully here, but encouraging signs at least for him and some other relievers maybe that people are wondering about. Derek Law is throwing off a bullpen and is about ready to start facing live hitters. That'll be the first time he's done that since spring training. So again, they're bringing him along slowly, but all the signs have been good. Orlando Ribalta is just playing catch, so it doesn't look like he's close to coming back. And Jacob Young just started the rehab assignment at Harrisburg. He's played 2 games for them now. Not a whole lot in the results of those games, but as far as I know, he's come out of that healthy. And so we could be a few days away from him being activated.
So we talked about this on the last installment of the podcast. I'll ask you about this. As things stand right now, if Jacob Young is activated, what do you think the corresponding roster move is right now?
There's still time for things to develop based on how guys perform. But my guess would be that Dalen Lyle goes back to AAA and that Robert Hassel moves over to right field. So Lyle's done some nice things. Absolutely. You can see the potential there, why everybody's so excited about him. He also only had, I think it was 18 games of AAA experience before they called him up. Hassel was ready. He was knocking on the door anyways. Lyle would have stayed down a while longer, and it was only because of the back-to-back injuries to Young and Cruz that he got called up. So I think they can make a valid argument that he's best served going down and playing every day at AAA. And if he keeps it up, he'll be back up here. They'll find a way to make that happen. But I think you give Jacob Young the opportunity to come back and take his job in center field, and then it's up to him to start producing more. And if he doesn't, it's a different conversation, especially as Dylan Cruz gets closer to coming back. But my guess would be that for now, you will see Jacob Young in center, Robert Hassel in right, Alex Call still on the bench, picking his spots to start, and Dalen Lyle playing every day at AAA.
I wanted to say this too regarding Mason Thompson, and I guess we just got really spoiled by Jordan Zimmerman and Steven Strasburg in their recoveries from Tommy John. But man, the trend in recent years seems to be Nats pitchers who undergo Tommy John take longer than anticipated to come back, or at least take longer than you're used to come back, right? You think about Cade Cavalli, you think about Tanner Rainey, you think about now Mason Thompson. Now, every situation is different. I get that. But I think we may have been really spoiled by Zimmerman and Strasburg, because I don't remember this kind of conversation going on with those guys. Like, it got to a point with Tommy John to where it was his routine procedure for Nats pitchers. And, 12, 13 months, the guy was back. And that's not a given anymore with these guys, it feels like.
Yeah, it was really clockwork for both Strasburg and Zimmerman, where you kind of knew, hey, they're going to come back the following September, both having had the surgery, I think within a week of each other, 1 year apart at the end of July, maybe beginning of August. And in both cases, they were back in September. They made their 4 or 5 starts at the end. We're good to go the next year until the inevitable shutdown in September. So it doesn't always work out that way. You hope that it does, but it's not always the norm. And it's also a good reminder, because I've been asked a few times here about Josiah Gray and like what's going on with him. There's not a lot to report there. And let's remember, he had his Tommy John on July 24th last year. So even in a best case scenario, you're talking about the very end of July, beginning of August for him to come back. And more likely, based on the way we've seen these things go, we may only see him make a few starts in September and then try to be good to go for next year. So you hope, you want it to be the 12-month recovery, but that's not always true. And a lot depends on the time of year that they had it. how they recover from it. And again, in Mason Thompson's case, let's remember, second career Tommy John surgery, much different story there.
You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can email the show as well, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. Keep the suggestions for nicknames for MacKenzie Gore game days coming. We've enjoyed that so far. This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by Window Nation. When you buy 4 windows, you get 4 free. When you purchase a house full of windows, no money down for 24 months. Visit windownation.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat, courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat podcast, and we leave you now with this update on the Nats AAA affiliate, the Rochester Red Wings, from the voice of the Red Wings, Josh Whetzel.
Here it comes. House clobbers a high drive the other way to right center field. Out near the wall. This is gone. House homers again, this time to right center. That was a fastball up, out over the plate, and House tomahawked it. The Red Wings have been playing their best baseball of the season. They had a 7-game win streak snapped on Tuesday night in Worcester. They've now dropped a couple in a row in Worcester on the heels of that 7-game win streak. They've still won, though, 11 of the last 15 games. Cade Cavalli made another start for the Wings on Tuesday. Was not quite as sharp as he was Wednesday in a terrific win over Columbus. He pitched 4 2/3 innings on Tuesday night, allowing 2 runs on 5 hits. He had 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Last Wednesday against Columbus, 5 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts while throwing only 70 pitches. He had a great feel for his curveball in that game. On the pitching front, Holden Powell made his return to AAA on Tuesday night, former high draft choice out of UCLA. He pitched a couple of games for the Red Wings at the tail end of 2023, all of 2024, though, in AA. He pitched an inning, allowing 1 hit and no runs on Tuesday. Powell had been pitching great for AA Harrisburg. Offensively for the Wings, Andrew Pinckney scored a run on Wednesday and now has scored a run in 11 straight games. That is the longest such stretch at the moment in all of professional baseball. Darren Baker stays hot with a 1-for-4 game on Wednesday. And since May 1st, Baker is now hitting .338. Juan Yepes has maybe started to heat up. He had a 2-homer game last weekend. He's 6 for his last 11 with a pair of homers. Yo-Yo Morales, over his first 9 AAA games, is batting .206 while primarily playing first base. And Brady House celebrated his 22nd birthday on Wednesday, going 1-for-4. He now has a 6-game hitting streak, during which time he's 9 for 25 with a pair of home runs. Going back further over his last 10 games, Brady House hitting .381 with 3 homers and 5 doubles for the Red Wings. This is Josh Whetzel with your Rochester Red Wings update.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the set for Boyd. Pitch number 10 to Nuñez. Swinging a ground ball, fair! Past the diving third baseman, down the line, it's going to the corner. Call's tearing around third, he's headed home. The throw to the plate by Swanson, it's too late and it's cut off. Nasim Nuñez, a double, makes it 2-0 Nationals on the 10th pitch of his epic at-bat. And the Nationals get a huge insurance run here in the last of the 8th inning. And that's going to be all for Boyd, who pitched a whale of a game, but he's going to leave trailing. And Nasim Nuñez applies the knockout.